So it's been 21 days since I first got my hands on Samsung's Galaxy A21s, a smartphone that I could definitely see as the next phone for you or for someone you know. So after 3 weeks of usage, I want to talk to you about some new experiences I've had and share some insight on whether or not the A21s is the phone to go with, considering all of the new releases Samsung is bringing to the smartphone market here in 2020. Let's get started. So starting with what makes the A21s such a compelling consideration: price. At the time of this video, the Galaxy A21s, which comes in red, white, blue, and this prism black color shown here, and in configurations of 3, 4, or 6 gigabytes of RAM, is around $200. You are getting some great value for your money here. In exchange for that price, you're getting a 6.5-inch display, a massively sized 5,000 mAh battery, an acceptable camera experience, which we'll look into in a bit, and Samsung's greatly refined One UI 2.1, which has been a good software experience on all of the Samsung devices I've used, from budget to flagship. We also have a lot of small things going right here that anyone considering this phone will definitely enjoy, including the likes of a headphone jack, nicely rounded and slim bezels around the display, a hole punch cutout placed in the upper left corner, which does a good job of staying out of the way of whatever you're viewing and is much less intrusive over any iPhone notch or even the teardrop design we can find on something like the Galaxy A31, and the cool colors this phone puts off in the right light. The overall design and form factor looks and feels similar to that of the higher-end Galaxy A71, which costs nearly twice as much, and it even shares similar looking attributes to the flagship Galaxy S20 Plus. We have what looks and feels like a lot being offered here for less price. So then what's missing to get this A21s to its more affordable price point? The most noticeable difference you will find here compared to the rest of the Galaxy A series is the lack of an AMOLED display, which provides more vibrant colors and deeper blacks compared to a traditional LCD, or in this case, TFT display. The A21s's non-AMOLED 720p display of course looks less impressive next to the Galaxy A31, A51, and A71, which all have 1080p AMOLED displays, but these options are more expensive. Something else that makes any A-series phone less expensive is the Glastic-backed design. For those who don't know, Glastic is a highly polished plastic, which has been showing up on many phones from Samsung this year, including the Galaxy S10 Lite and Note 10 Lite. And rumor has it that even the new Note 20 will feature this Glastic build. You will probably see and hear other viewers complain about this build choice opposed to glass, which we've been used to seeing on smartphones for the last few years, but honestly the feeling of the Glastic is still solid for me, and it's becoming more apparent as time goes on from you, the viewers at home, that many people prefer this Glastic over glass, so you don't have to worry about the back of your phone shattering if dropped. Now, speaking of drops and durability, a more legitimate area of concern for me on the A21s is its plastic frame, as this will not handle any drops all too well. My Galaxy A71, which has a similar build, was dropped by my clumsy self recently, and the result was a decent sized dent in the corner. Another drop in the same spot could be more problematic to the structural integrity of the phone. With that said, if you do end up buying this phone, I would highly encourage you to purchase a case to prevent the phone from being compromised. The last compromise made on the A21s is its lack of water and dust resistance, but a lack of official certifications doesn't mean the phone can't handle a bit of bad weather or a couple other of life's many incidents. Many viewers have shared their personal experiences with their A-series phones, and in most scenarios, your phone will probably survive a bad spell of rain here and there, but more consistent exposure could be problematic. Problems aside though, there are a few great things going for the A21s, which I have thoroughly enjoyed over the past 21 days. The first and foremost being the 6.5-inch display. As mentioned earlier, it is a 720p display, which falls below the 1080p resolution standard set on the higher end A-series devices, but for average daytime day-to-day use, it is not going to be an issue for you, and it is going to actually help in the battery life department, which is the most compelling part of this phone for me. The A21s packs a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, and this capacity, in addition to the lower resolution display and the battery efficient processor, gives it the best battery life of probably any phone I have ever used and reviewed. I'm getting around 14 hours of screen on time before needing to recharge. In other words, this phone has a bare minimum 2-day battery life, and I think could potentially last up to a week if you or who you would be buying this phone for isn't on their phone all of the time. The battery efficient processor, which is the Exynos 850, is a new chipset and is the first of its kind found in the A21s. It is certainly not as powerful as some of the processors you will find in more expensive Samsung phones, but again, in day-to-day use, it gets the job done for me, and I've even been able to enjoy some light gaming. There are little hiccups here and there in general navigation and use, but it's never been unbearable. Another area where this phone surprised me was in the camera department. Whenever a phone costs $200 or less, I usually just write off the cameras and don't consider them as a primary selling point. But when I tested out the A21s's primary camera against the more expensive Galaxy A71, the results surprised me. I think the A21s certainly held its ground against the A71 in these photos. Now, it does lose some quality in comparison when you jump out to the wide-angle lens, where you will see a bit more blurring on the edges of your photos. There's also a depth sensor and macro lens included in the camera array, but with a 2 megapixel resolution given to these, there's just not a whole lot of potential here for great shots. I also think the front-facing camera is just okay on the A21s, as the Galaxy A71 in comparison takes much more detailed selfies and colors look to be captured much better. But overall, for the price you pay, you are definitely getting a good enough experience, and I think the average consumer will be pleased. So, after 21 days of usage with the Galaxy A21s, my final verdict is this. If you're looking for a phone to take care of your average daily needs, such as scrolling through social media, shopping online, watching YouTube, playing some light games, and taking the occasional photo or selfie, then the A21s is perfect for you. Any other phone can essentially do these same things, but what sets the A21s apart from the others is its incredible battery life, which would last for several days in my use case, which can't be said for the Galaxy A31, 51, and 71. I can highly recommend this phone to you or a loved one looking for an overall good smartphone experience for not a whole lot of money. But what are your thoughts on the Galaxy A21s? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, then be sure to give it a thumbs up. And please consider subscribing to the Shane Symonds YouTube channel today and hitting that bell icon for notifications. Hope to see you around for the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.